Yes, good evening friends. I am Sunil Desai and welcome to Galaxy Online Learning, a division of Galaxy Tutorials. Okay friends, so students of Standard 10 CPSC, this is your English period and from your textbook, your first flight, okay, of Standard 10, we are going to study today chapter number 4 from the diary of Anne Frank. Okay, now these are a few pages from the diary of a young girl, okay, Jewish girl. She was a Jewish girl. She was staying in Germany, a German girl who was Jewish, okay, hardly age of 13. She got a diary as a present for a birthday and she started writing this diary. Later on, when the Nazis took over Germany, this, you must have already learned during in history. You already learned how the Nazis, the way they tortured the Jewish people. Okay, so their family left for Holland, Amsterdam. Okay, there in Netherlands they stayed for a few months, but later on the Nazis captured Netherlands. Okay, so they went in for a hiding in their father's office, and they stayed in the hidden rooms for a few months. But someone betrayed them, and they were caught, and they were taken to the concentration camps. You know the concentration camps of the Nazis. Okay, so they were taken to the concentration camps. First, little Anne's sister died in the concentration camp, followed by Anne also died. Only of the whole family, her father survived, and he came back to. Afterwards, he came back to their home in home. And when he came back, okay, he found this diary which Anne had written. Okay, and after going to the diary, he found that it was worth publishing. So this diary, he took action and saw that his little daughter's diary was published. Okay, and this diary, okay, was then published first in English. This diary of such a so many, you will find so many stories, so many movies, so many dramas written on this diary, because there is a very, though at a very small age, the way she has written the diary, very matured way and very keen observation, the way is really, really beautiful. Okay, so you could see so many operas, so many dramas and movies made on this diary. Okay, so we are going to just go through few pages of this diary. In this, she gives her reasoning why she started writing her diary, and then what she has written in the diary, that also we'll see. Writing in a diary is a real strange experience for someone like me. Not only because I have never written anything before, but also because it seems to me that later on, neither I nor anyone else will be interested in the musings of a 13-year-old schoolgirl. Oh well, it doesn't matter. I feel like writing, and I have an even greater need to get all kinds of things of myself. Now here she explains why she has started writing. She didn't have any experience of writing, but on a birthday she gets a gift as a diary, and she starts writing. She never had any experiences, and she knows, and she feels. In fact, I would say she feels that no one will be interested in reading what she has written, because she is just a 13-year-old young schoolgirl, and hardly anyone will be interested in reading what a young schoolgirl writes. So she said, I feel like writing because I like writing, and second thing is that she wants, there are so many feelings in her mind, there are so many things to say in her mind, that she wants to just get them off her chest, get them off her mind. Somewhere she has to, because she will explain you in the next paragraph. We'll see why she wants to write it down. Okay, the reason. Okay, she will explain it in the next one. So she wanted to let the feelings come out of her chest. Okay. Paper has more patience than people. I thought of the saying on one of those days when I was feeling a little depressed and was sitting at home with my chin in my hands, bored and listless, wondering whether to stay in or go out. I finally stayed where I was brooding. Yes, paper does have more patience. And since I am not planning to let anyone else read this stiff-backed notebook, grandly referred to as a diary, unless I should ever find a real friend, it probably won't make a bit of a difference. Okay, she says that she says that a saying comes in a mind. Paper has more patience than people. Okay, because paper is more patient because what you write down on a piece of paper remains on a piece of paper. If you tell something to someone, immediately it is passed on to others. Even if you tell a secret to your very closest friend, one day he tells it to someone else, and that too in a different way. You know how words change when they go from one person to another. Okay, but when you write something on a piece of paper, it will remain there. The paper is not going to tell anyone, and the same words someone will be able to read. Okay, so they won't be changed. That's why they end. It is patience. It is not going to open up on its own. Okay, and she says that I am not planning to let anyone read this. She doesn't want that anyone should read this unless because she can't trust anyone. She can't trust anyone. She feels that you should tell someone about your falling only to someone who is very close to you, one who you can trust. Okay. Now I'm back to the point that prompted me to keep the diary in the first place. I don't have a friend. Okay. So she tells us that first thing what prompted her to write a diary was that she didn't have a friend. Okay. So she was not able to open up to anyone because she didn't have a friend. So she thought it best thing is to write down what she is feeling. So whatever it is there in her mind will come out. It won't just gather inside. So let me put it more clearly. Since no one will believe that a 13-year-old girl is completely alone in the world, and I am not. I have loving parents, a 16-year-old sister, and there are about 30 people I can call friends. I have a family, loving aunts, and a good home. No, on the surface I simply have everything except my one true friend. All I think about when I am with friends is having a good time. I can't bring myself to talk about anything but ordinary, everyday things. We don't seem to be able to get any closer, and that's the problem. Maybe it's my fault that we don't confide in each other. In any case, that's just how things are, and unfortunately, they are not liable to change. This is why I have started the diary. Now, here's the answer why she has started diary. Now, like anyone, see, she says, I am a 13-year-old girl, and like anyone else, other people, I too have a family. I have adorable, good parents. Then I have a elder sister, 16-year-old, 3 years older than me. Okay. Then my parents are very loving. I have nearly 30 friends. I have loving aunts. Means I have a good home. Means whatever a 13-year-old needs, everything is there. Okay, means people will feel that what a 13-year-old needs. She needs a good home. She needs good parents. She needs siblings. She needs family and everything I had. But one thing I was lacking, that I didn't have a true friend. True friend, she means to say is that she says that I had so many friends, 30 friends I had, but they were like just enjoying, passing good time with them, like that type of friends. Not a friend whom you can confide everything, you can trust him and you can talk anything to him, whatever is there in your mind. These friends, 30 friends which she had, they were all like means having a good time with friends. That's like you have so many friends in the school, in your society, in your neighborhood. You have so many friends. You just say hi, bye. You just enjoy with them. But there is sometimes you find only a certain person who is a very close to you. That's your very close friend, where you can share everything, where you can trust him. You can tell everything what's there in your mind. So she didn't have such a friend. Okay, that's why she said she starts writing a diary. Okay, so to enhance the image of this long-awaited friend in my imagination, I don't want to jot down the facts in the diary the way most people would do. But I want the diary to be my friend, and I am going to call this friend Kitty. So what she does, since she was unable to find a friend whom she could confide, whom she could trust, she says that that's why I have made this diary my friend, and I'm going to confide with her everything. She is my trusted friend, and she named her diary, the name of the diary was Kitty. She named the diary as Kitty. Since no one would understand a word of my stories to Kitty, if I were to plunge right in, I'd better provide a brief sketch of my life, much as I dislike doing so. So, if I suddenly start writing, okay, something, and if you go through this diary of mine, which I am calling Kitty, you won't understand it. So before that, I'll just give my brief introduction. I don't like to give introduction. That's what Anne says. Anne says that she doesn't like to give she dislikes giving introduction of herself. But still, then, just because you should know who I am, okay, and you should know the background of what I am writing. That's why I am giving you this description. My father, the most adorable father I ever seen, didn't marry my mother until he was 36 and she was 25. My sister Margot was born in Frankfurt in Germany in 1926. I was born on 12 June 1929. I lived in Frankfurt until I was 4. My father emigrated to Holland in 1933. My mother, Edith Hollander Frank, went with him to Holland in September. While Margot and I were sent to Aachen to stay with our grandmother, Margaret went to Holland in December and I followed in February, when I was plunked down on the table as a birthday present for Margaret. So she is telling a story now. See, her father, a most adorable, she says her father was very adorable. Okay, he was a very adorable father. He loved his daughters very much. Okay, so her parents, mother and father, got married when the father was 36 and mother was 25. Okay. Her sister was born in Frankfurt in Germany 1926 and Anne was born on 12th of June 1929. Okay. And she lived in Frankfurt till she was 4 years old. After that, her father emigrated to Holland and her mother, okay, she also went with him to Holland. And Margaret's elder sister and Anne were kept with their grandmother in Aachen. Okay. Later on in December, Margaret too went to Holland, followed by Anne. Anne left Holland in February, and she says that she was placed on the table as a surprise to her elder sister. Okay, because they had not informed her that Margaret was going to follow her, and she came as a good surprise to her on her birthday. Okay. I started right away at the Montessori Nursery School. I stayed there until I was 6, at which time I started in the first form. In the sixth form, my teacher was Mrs. Cupidus, the headmistress. At the end of the year, we were both in tears as we said a heartbreaking farewell. She was sent to, after going to Holland, she joined a Montessori school, and there she was there till the sixth form. Till the sixth form she was there in the Montessori school. Okay. Then her teacher was Mrs. Cooper, who was the headmistress of the Montessori school, and she felt very, very bad when she was very sad, both of them, the teacher as well as Annie, when she had to say goodbye to the school. In the summer of 1941, Grandma fell ill and had to have an operation. So my birthday passed with little celebration. Okay. In 1941, what happened was that her grandmother was ill and she had to be operated. So that year, in that summer, she was born on 12 June, so that is summertime over there. Okay. So in that, since her grandmother was not feeling well, that year she could not celebrate her birthday. Grandma died in January 1942. Okay, after a few months, Grandma died. No one knows how often I think of her and still love her. This birthday celebration in 1942 was intended to make up for the other, and Grandma's candle was lit along with the rest. Okay, so in a few months afterwards, that is in January 1942, grandmother died, and Anne says that she loved her grandmother very, very much. Okay. Now, who are left in the family? 4 of them. Father, mother, her elder sister Margaret, and Anne. The 4 of us are still doing well, and that brings me to the present date of 20th January 1942 and the solemn dedication of my diary. Okay, so now, so from that onward, 4 of them, they are doing well, they are good, okay, until the date, means she's now writing the date. The date is now 20th June 1942, and this is the first dedication of my diary. Now she is writing to her diary, dearest Kitty, okay, Saturday 20th June 1942. Now this is the first page she is writing. Our entire class is quaking in its boots. The reason, of course, is the forthcoming meeting in which the teachers decide who will move up to the next form and who will get back. Half the class is making bets. Gian and I laugh ourselves silly at the 2 boys behind us, Cian and Jax, who have staked their entire holiday saving on the bet. From morning to night, it's you are going to pass? No, I am not. Yes, you are? No, I am not. Even gist-spreading glances and my angry outbursts can calm them down. If you ask me, there are so many dummies that about a quarter of the class should be kept back. But teachers are the most unpredictable creatures on earth. So she has started writing her diary. This is 20th of June 1942, Saturday. Okay? And she has written, dearest Kitty. Now she's telling about the day. So she's writing that everyone in the class, all the students of the class they are frightened, they are quaking in their boots. That means they are shaking with fear. There's fear in their mind because today there's going to be a meeting and where the teachers are going to decide who is going to the next form, means in the next class, means who is going to be promoted to the next who is going to pass, who is going to be in the next standard. Okay, so she said half the class is making bets that who is going to go, who is going to pass, who is going to. She says that friend GN, she calls her GN, and the 2 boys sitting behind her, C and Jakes, they have spent their whole savings in the holiday savings on their bet. They are betting who is going to pass, who is not going to pass. Okay, so she says that if you ask her, then quarter of the class, 25% of the students are dummies. But she said it's unpredictable. Teachers are such an unpredictable creature, she says, that you don't know whom they are going to pass and whom they are going to fail. I am not so worried about my girlfriends and myself. We'll make it. The only subject I am not sure about is maths. Anyway, all we can do is wait. Until then, we keep telling each other not to lose heart. She said, I am not that much worried about myself or my girlfriends, because I know I am going to pass. Only I am worried about only one subject, and that is maths. Okay? But I'm sure I'll go in the next form. But now nothing can be done. We have to just wait for the result to come up. I get along pretty well with all my teachers. There are 9 of them, 7 men and 2 women. Mr. Kissing, the old fogey who teaches maths, was annoyed with me for ages because I talk so much. After several warnings, he assigned me extra homework, an essay on the subject, a chatterbox. A chatterbox, what can you write about that? I had to worry about that later, I decided. I jotted down the title in my notebook, tucked it in my bag, and tried to keep quiet. See, she is now writing. See the way she has written. She is just written as if she is talking with a friend. Okay, she has considered the diary Kitty as a friend, and she is just talking. So beautifully she has written. Okay, a just imagine a 13-year-old girl writing such a beautiful way. Okay, so she's writing to she's telling her diary that she is good with all the teachers. She is doing well with all the teachers. She has 9 of them. Out of them, 7 are men and 2 are women. Okay, so only one whom she doesn't dislike is the math teacher, who is an old foggy. Foggy means is an old-fashioned person. Okay, she dislikes him, and he is annoyed with her also. Why? Because she talks too much. He feels that Anne talks too much. Okay, so he has given her a homework, and he has asked her to write an essay on what? On the subject. The title is Chatterbox. Chatterbox means a person who talks too much, continuously chattering. Okay. So she says, I jotted down the title, and so that I can think about it later. She has to write and submit that essay to the teacher. That evening, after I finished the rest of my homework, the note about the essay caught my eye. I began thinking about the subject while chewing the tip of my fountain pen. Anyone could ramble on and leave big spaces between the words, but the trick was to come up with convincing arguments to prove the necessity of talking. I thought, and suddenly I had an idea. I wrote the 3 pages Mr. Casing had assigned me and was satisfied. I argued that talking is a student's trait and that I would do my best to keep it under control, but that I would never be able to cure myself of the habit since my mother talked as much as I did, if not more. And that there's not much you can do about inherited traits. Okay, so that evening after she came home from school, she did all her homework, and after she did her homework, the note which she had written that she has to write an essay that she saw, and she started thinking what to write now. Now, like most of you students do, what you do is that because the teacher has asked you to write 3 pages, three full skip pages. So, what do? Just go on writing anything what you wish. Just go on rambling something and write in big letters so that more space, you consume more space, then leave more space between 2 words also, so that more you can finish off the 3 pages full. But Anna's not like that. She keeps on thinking what to do now. She thinks that the best way to counter that he is annoyed is the math teacher Mr. Casing is annoyed that she talks more. So talks a lot in the class. So she says the best way is to convince Mr. Casing, her teacher, that chatting is very necessary. Talking in the class is very necessary. So she said that is way how I can keep him quiet. So I should make him understand. I should convince him that talking or chatting in the class is very much necessary. And she suddenly gets an idea and she starts writing 3 full pages of that essay. Okay, in which what she does, she argues in that essay that talking is a student's trait. Trait means it's a habit. Okay, it's a habit, and all students they have an habit of talking, and she will And she also writes in it that she will try to control it. Okay, she will try to control it, but she says that this is something which is very difficult for me to completely stop talking, because my mother is also a good chatterbox. Means she talks a lot, if not less than me, but at least she talks as good as me, as much as me she talks. So now this is an inherited trait. That means which has come from your parents, from the genes. Okay, so you can't do much about it. So she's telling her in that essay, she's telling her teacher, Mr. Casey, that she will try her best to control it, but it's not in her hands because it is an inherited trait. It's in her genes. Talking is in her genes, and so she can't do much about it. Mr. Kissing had a good laugh at my arguments, but when I proceeded to talk my way through the next lesson, he assigned me second essay. This time it was supposed to be on an incorrigible chatterbox. I handed it in, and Mr. Kissing had nothing to complain about for 2 whole lessons. However, during the third lesson, he had finally had enough. And Frank, as punishment for talking in the class, write an essay entitled Quack, 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 said Mrs. Chatterbox. So, after writing the 3-page essay, she hands it over to Mr. Casing, a teacher. When he reads that essay, he has a nice, good laugh, looking at the arguments which N has done. Okay? And he just laughs. He doesn't punish her. He doesn't get angry on her. Okay? He laughs it. But N, she can't keep quiet. She continues chatting during his second lesson also. The next lesson which is teaching. During that time also, she starts chatting. So, what happens is that he gets again angry, Mr. Casing, and he tells her to write another essay, and by the name and the title of that essay is An Incorrigible Chatterbox. Incorrigible means that the thing which cannot be corrected. Means he told her to write an essay on chatterbox. She wrote an essay, but she could not improve, she could not keep quiet. So now he gets so much irritated by her chatter that he asks her to write an essay, An Incorrigible Chatterbox. She writes that essay, she hands it over to him, he goes through that essay, and for 2 lessons he is quiet. Okay, he doesn't say anything. But then Anna is chatting all the way during her habit of chatting doesn't go. So in the third lesson, he really gets irritated and tells her to write the third essay, the title of which is Quack, 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 said Mr. Chatterbox. Means she wants to know how much she can chat. He just wants to know how can she argue, and he just wants to know how this young girl is chatting so much. He just can't imagine it. So he write now an essay on this quack, 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 means how you can talk so much continuously. Okay? So when the class roared, I had to laugh too, though I had early exhausted my ingenuity on the topic of chatterboxes. It was time to come up with something else, something original. My friend San, who is good at poetry, offered to help me write the essay from beginning to end in verse, and I jumped for joy. Mr. Kissing was trying to play a joke on me with this ridiculous subject, but I had to make sure the joke was on him. So, when the class heard the title of the essay, Quack, 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 said Mr. Chatterbox, everyone started laughing, and poor Anne had to laugh too, because everyone was laughing. But, sorry, But she was worried now what to write, because two essays she had written on chatting, continuous chattering all the way along. So now she was exhausted with all the ideas. She had nothing original with the lab. So she was worried now what to write in the third essay. But somehow her friend, San, she helps her. She says she's good at poetry, and she says, I'll help you in writing this essay, but will write it in verse. Okay, that means in a form of a poetry. Okay, so and says that Mr. Kissing wanted to make a joke of me, means he wanted to punish me because I was chatting a lot. That's why he had purposely given the subject of chattering. So he wants to see how much more you can chatter, how much more you can write about chattering. So that once you are exhausted with the idea, you will keep quiet. But now, and he says, he wanted to make a joke of me, but I now thought that since she's helping me, I wanted to make a joke on him. I finished my poem and it was beautiful. It was about a mother duck and a father swan with 3 baby ducklings who were beaten to death by the father because they quacked too much. Luckily, Mr. Kissing took the joke the right way. He read the poem to the class, adding his own comments, and to several other classes as well. Since then, I have been allowed to talk and haven't been assigned any extra homework. On the contrary, Mr. Kissing's always making jokes these days. Yours, Anne. Okay, that's how she has written on that day. Okay, so after finishing the poem with the help of a friend San, she hands it over to Mr. Kissing, her math teacher, and she says that the poem was really, really beautiful. What was that in the poem? That in that poem there was a mother duck and a father swan and 3 ducklings, and the 3 children, 3 ducklings. Okay, these 3 ducklings were big. They used to continuously quack, quack and quack, chatter, chatter and chatter. Okay, and so the father gets angry on them, and he has beaten them so much that they die. Okay, so on that they had written the poem, and that was a beautiful poem, and she handed it over to Mr. Kissing. Mr. Kissing writes Mr. Kissing reads the poem. Okay, and he takes the joke the right way. Means he understands that we should not punish Anne for chatting, because what had happened, because of the scolding and the punishment of the father swan, the poor ducklings had died. So he didn't want something bad to happen with Anne. So he takes in the right way and he stops scolding Anne for her chatting. In fact, what happens, he in fact reads that poem to the whole class, even to other classes also. And from that day onwards, he has stopped scolding Annie, and he too has started making jokes. So now maths has not become a boring subject. In fact, he makes jokes while teaching maths too. Okay, so this is how beautifully she has written. A 13-year-old girl writing such in a beautiful way. Her father, that's why, saw that her writings have been published. Okay, this is just an extract from the diary of a young girl. If you happen to read this, you can, it's available in any library, or you can get it for yourself from any bookstores. It's a beautiful, beautiful book. Okay, beautiful diary. She has written it in a very beautiful way. Okay, just go through it and see how a 13-year young girl has written such a beautiful account of her life in that diary. Okay, with this we end this chapter. Thank you very much. Before ending, I'd like to remind you once again, those who have not yet subscribed to our channel, please subscribe to Galaxy Online Learning and press the bell icon because once you press the bell icon, you will start getting notification of each and every new video which we are uploading, okay, on YouTube. Okay, so with this I end this lecture. Thank you.